What have the 49ers learned from the Trey Lance experience, assuming that it might be coming to an end pretty soon? I mean, unprecedented. What did they learn, do you think? What should they have learned?
Well, what they should have learned is no matter what your team wants to do, you move at the pace of your quarterback. Uh, what they should have learned is you don't double down on a bad mistake. And if you pay the price tag for a certain asset, any asset, you're not better than the process. You have to play him. You have
Mm-hmm.
to play him. I think that is one of the biggest things that I feel like completely turned this entire Trey Lance experience on its head is we didn't play him right away. We were more fixated on winning a Super Bowl and developing a would-be franchise quarterback at the same time, which is, I don't know if that's ever been done. Somebody go into the Google sphere and correct me, but that's very hard to do. And on top of it, we still net really didn't move anywhere. We picked up Trey in 2021 or 2020, and we came in, lost, had a bad year, got hurt, went to the NFC Championship game twice and lost. So, for all intents and purposes, the best success that we've had since we got Trey was before Trey, when we went to the Super Bowl. Outside of that, we've done patently equal across the board. One thing that really hurts us with the Trey Lance experience that I feel like that we should have learned is that uh, the culture of your locker room should not dictate who gets on the field. Um, that's got to come from the top down. I understand having a contingency of players that are trusted. I understand having a leadership council, but if what the players are feeling in the locker room is altering what you see as being the best direction for the team, if that's altering the ultimate decision making process, that's no way to win. That's no way to move forward. And quite honestly, that's not even like something. That's not even like an acceptable risk. Something that you can take on and just wait for it later. That's something that has to be fixed right away because it's going to keep showing itself up repeatedly.
Yeah.
So those are some of
Yeah.
the things that I feel like we should have learned from the Trey Lance experience is that ultimately, if I wanted to put a bow on it, I would just say that we're just not bigger than the process. We're no better than anybody else. And there's just certain things that we did as a franchise that had everybody scratching their heads. And we're kind of in the same position because of it.
Yeah, I think they should have learned a lot of lessons from this one. One is that they're a bad fit for an inexperienced quarterback. Just a terrible fit. I mean, I think when they drafted Trey Lance, everyone's like, hey, well, this guy's a project, but he went to the best possible situation because the team's so good. It's a double-edged sword with that. I mean, the team has expectations, and they have no patience for a quarterback who doesn't have the basics down, who, needs to learn, who needs some teaching. They have no patience for that. So, I
They don't
mean,
have the
he
stomach
was
for it. I agree.
he was screwed before. It was the worst situation for Trey Lance. He'd be better off going to the Bears. So that's one. And then two, the Niners cannot fix throwing mechanics. I mean, it was known with Trey Lance, like he's a good athlete, inexperienced. His throwing mechanics are messed up. So someone's going to have to fix that. And sitting him a year, I thought the whole idea was instead of playing him with the messed up mechanics, sit him a year, let him ingrain these mechanics with reps. And then when he comes on the field in his second year, he'll be throwing the way he needs to throw. That never happened.
No.
That never happened. And then they tried to throw it their hands like, well, it's not really what we do here. We work on footwork. Okay. So then you shouldn't have drafted him. Two reasons why you shouldn't have drafted him.
That's such bullshit too, Grant. And I'm sorry for corning in right now, but the truth is that they don't have the bandwidth to do it. You don't
Then you
have
shouldn't have drafted
enough.
him.
Come
Yeah.
on, man. And that,
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
this is the thing that I feel like there's 24 hours in a day. All right. There's only but so much effort and attention that you can put on to certain objectives. And the facts of the matter is that they didn't scope this the right way. They didn't look at the true effort that it was going to take for them to get there and the time Not
Yeah.
even the effort, but the time that it was going to take.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they overshot it, and they didn't look at it correctly. And once they got him, they tried to put a square peg in a round hole, and they buried the kid. But the truth of the matter is that who am I going to put more responsibility on? The 20-year-old, 19-year-old kid that barely played, that had all of the experts and ex-Hall of Famers who bidded on him and said, yeah, let's bring him in the building. I mean,
Yeah.
who are we going to put the responsibility on?
Okay, I have a metaphor for you. It's like the Niners bought a really expensive plot of land, very ambitious. They're like, you know what? We're gonna build our house. We're gonna buy this plot. We're gonna build our house from the ground up. And they put down the foundation. They worked on it for like a month and gave up. They're like, this sucks. We're terrible at building houses, and it's not fun. It's way too hard. And so they buy a trailer and put it on the plot of land and live in the trailer and be like, this is cheap. This is great. Oh, we're saving money on electricity. This is way better. Who needs 2 stories for a house? I think this trailer is just perfect. It's like, really? Yeah. Is that was the first plan, huh? To live in a trailer?
That's what you went with. That's what
you went with. That's what you're going with. And I feel like, yeah, that's kind of what they're learning. Like, we don't need a big house. We're perfectly fine with a trailer. Like, I don't know about that, but enjoy that.
You know, I came up with an analogy, a metaphor about how I felt about us the other day. I feel like we're kind of like Ocean's 11, man. Like, we're just a whole
how to get a quarterback,
a whole bunch of names, all put together, and for some reason, all of our weird plans end up working in our favor, and we do it with
not like they expected, though.
Yeah, and we do it with a smile and a tuxedo, like it was supposed to happen. The only thing is that we don't get bailed out, and we don't get to lift buildings and do all of this wild shit that nobody thinks of that is not realistic. Like we're this banded cast of people that are just floating on what we think everybody wants to see from us, and everybody else is getting to work. And what's sad about that is that could be the farthest thing from the truth as far as what our team actually is and what they built as an identity. But the only reason why this stuff is creeping in is because of the business that we're conducting at the most important position on the team, which is quarterback. You know, it's like, if you can't handle think about it. The operative, there really aren't any bad teams with their quarterback situation handled.
That's true. I mean, they might be stuck in playoff purgatory, but they're not bad.
Yeah.
Plumbing God 42 says, John and Kyle, I wonder why the same teams are dominating the regular and postseason. It's because the quarterback outscores and outplays the rest of the team on all sides of the ball. That's why he's the plumbing god. Russ Button says, Niners need more than one quarterback because have shown they can't get through a season with just one. Trading Lance doesn't make sense. But it's on brand because the Niners do lack a little self-awareness. And they think injuries are flukes, bad luck.
And they think that they're still in a Super Bowl chase without having the quarterback situation handled.
Which is amazing. They're the only team that could convince themselves of that.
Yeah.
Merkin Avalo says, do you think the Niners making it seem like they want to quarterback this draft so the player they really want falls to them, assuming they trade Ayuk to move up? I mean, absolutely. Teams do that all the time. It's possible. It's possible. I guess we'll find out in a week. Corey Soto says, I'd take that analogy and say they built a great team, but built backwards. Should have drafted a top prospect while you were constructing.
They had that chance.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it's almost like they passed on Mahomes, blew it, tried to fix the mistake by trading up for a guy who kind of looks like Mahomes, and then blew it again. Honestly. Like the hair. You know what I'm saying? Like someone pointed out, like, because they're in a picture together. Like someone pointed out that Mahomes, like Lance, looks like an actor playing Mahomes in a bad movie about Andy Reid. Yeah, he looks like Mahomes' stunt double.
Trey Lance is Patrick Mahomes' 2B stunt double.
Exactly. You missed on Mahomes, and you tried to fix it by trading up for someone who looks like Mahomes. Like, that's so bad. Yeah, that's what you did.
I just think that, you know, they don't want to. What worries me is they don't want to look bad. You know, when you're developing a QB, as raw as Trey, there's gonna be it's almost kind of like being the parent of a toddler in like a really nice store. You know, you're gonna have to be doing a lot of apologizing. Like the baby's grabbing everything.
So sorry.
I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You know, oh, he sees the terrible threes, and you know what I'm saying? And I just don't. And with that there's a humbleness and a self-deprecation that you have to take when you really want somebody to develop, because they're just going to do things that by way of their actions, you're going to have secondhand embarrassment. And I just don't see us being able to ingest that as a team, where if Trey has a bad game, can George get up there or Kyle get up there and not make comments about the quarterback, even though we know that we're trying to develop a young guy, right? I really don't think that we have the stomach for it. I really think that the time that he truly deserves, where you need a guy like Robert Saleh or Mike McDaniel, who's going to come up there and speak life into the quarterback, even though, truthfully, he may look like ass that day. I don't get that from Kyle, and I don't get that from this locker room. I'm not fooled anymore by this brotherhood. This is a frat. It's contentious. There's levels, and it's and it's clicked up. All right, it's not this.
And there are no quarterbacks in the upper tier. They're always treated like pledges.
There are no quarterbacks in the Cabo Club.
They're treated like pledges. Hey, man, clean this up. Yeah. And the ones who it's always like a competition, like who can suck up to although to Brock's credit, he did tell him to shut up, but still, you're not a brother yet.
Yeah,
you're not.
And that's the way this locker room's ran. It's not as rolled out as they make it to be.
No, Tyler says it's like buying a brand new car and never leaving the dealership. Yeah, it's true. It's pretty much. Smack Jones says, Grant, ask them, do they think they owe us fans an explanation of how they went from drawing up plays after the combine to him not worth our time? I think that's a good point. I mean, you sold the fans on Trey Lance. You said there was a plan. You said be patient. They were patient. And then after 4 starts without any arrest or, something terrible happening on the field, you say, hey, what they're going to say is it's just that Brock is so special. It's like, I don't know.
Nah, that's the bombast though. Like, I feel like that comment is basically saying, ask him, can you please tell us about us noticing a lie versus now hearing the truth? Like, and that's another thing. Like, they can get as many years as they want to stay here, but you can only be on message, but for so long before people start remembering the rhetoric, right? Yeah. Before it starts coming back.
Yeah. Plumbing Out 42 says the NFL totem from top to bottom is front office, head coach, QB, and then the rest of the team. Kyle and John puts the Cabo clique first above all. Yeah, it's like the leadership council on the team, but it's blurred because he's friends with them. He wants to be their friend. So it's like, it feels like a teacher playing favorites in his class.
Yeah.
It's the teacher's pets, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a commission.
Everybody's a boss.